Look, I know a lot of more famous YouTubers have talked about Daredevil Season 3, but I have thought long about this and I feel like I just have to talk about this season. So let's freaking do it.
Who are you? I'm Daredevil.
Daredevil is considered by many as the pinnacle of superhero TV shows, but to me, even though I always thought the show was great, I tend to not overpraise a TV show after just one season. And after Daredevil Season 2, I was left underwhelmed and not really impressed actually. Sure, the Punisher was extremely complex and straight up amazing, definitely the best interpretation of the character we have ever had, but the season overall was not great. Mostly because of the boring antagonists and the arc of the characters around Daredevil like Elektra never clicked with me, so I was left disappointed. Then came Daredevil Season 3. The Netflix Marvel series overall lacks something in my opinion. They are mostly well shot, well directed and well acted. Most of the time. Except Daredevil, for me they have all lacked something, and that's engaging stories. They all have great themes like Luke Cage have focused on street level issues that are relevant to real life issues in the streets of New York. Jessica Jones have dealt with struggle, trauma and addiction, but their themes are not incorporated in engaging stories. And at the end, when something is not happening and no one is getting punched in the face, you are bored. I think Iron Fist fails at both the story and themes. I mean, sure, they tried to fix it with Season 2 with some redemption arcs here and there, but you can never tell what the series is trying to tell, the message is trying to convey. And that's because the show focuses on the action scenes. They try to make it entertaining to hide the lack of story and theme. And they kind of succeeded. I mean, I personally was able to finish both seasons of Iron Fist. I'm yet to finish Luke Cage and Jessica Jones' first seasons. However, if you are going to focus on entertaining fight scenes more than character arcs, you need to make sure they are on point. And that's where Daredevil comes in. Daredevil Season 3 succeeds at all three. It has great themes, amazing fight scenes, and an engaging story. Let's start with the themes. In Season 3, Agent Point Dexter, Karen Page, Agent Nadeem, and even Matt Murdock are all dealing with their own struggles. All three of them are struggling with something, but in a very different way. Agent Point Dexter, aka Bullseye, has been suffering from personality disorder since he was a kid. He finds a person who understands him, keeps him in check, his shrink. Once she dies, he becomes lonely again, but he keeps his promise made to her. He finds a job and tries to stay on the right side of the road by listening to some tapes from the session. Mental illness, even though portrayed in a very fictional way here, is very dangerous if not treated well and kept in check. Point Dexter for me is not a bad guy. He's just sick. He would have never killed all these people if he never met Kingpin, if his shrink never died, or even if that girl from the Suicide Prevention Center could help him. Then you have Karen Page, who has been feeling guilty about her little brother's death. She was on drugs, and after a fight between her brother and her boyfriend, she shoots her boyfriend and tries to drive her brother home while being completely wasted. And she crashes the car, her brother dies, her father kicks her out and never wants to see her again. Karen never forgave herself for what happened. But that's the point. The message here is to learn to forgive, but not forgive anyone else but forgive yourself. Karen's brother loved her, and he would also want her to move on. It's something she struggled with throughout the entire season, but slowly, especially after consecutive unfortunate events, she learns that not everything is her fault. It was her brother's choice to fight for her, just like it was the priest's choice to save her. Or just like it was Fist's fault all these journalists died. She was just trying to do the right thing. Agent Nadeem has probably the best arc this season. That's because he never went from one point to another. He didn't start up as a bad guy and change throughout the season or vice versa. Nadeem was always a good guy from the get-go, someone you would want to root for, but his arc is more about morality, doing the right thing. Thinking about how Fisk manipulated the FBI, Nadim could have just looked the other way and he would have kept his family safe and his life would go on. But by establishing how honorable he is from the get-go, we are allowed in his heads when moments of doubts arise. So we live the arc through his eyes because we are invested. And even though an arc about morality and doing the right thing sounds cliche, it was done perfectly here. And that's why this scene crushed me.
I'm not going anywhere with you, Dex. Whatever you need to do, you do it here.
Then there is Matt Murdock, who is broken as ever here. He believes the persona of Matt Murdock is dead, that it needs to push everyone away to avoid them getting hurt. And unlike what some people may think, if you actually watch the show, you will know that the point of the entire season was for Matt Murdock to understand that he doesn't have to be alone, that he has friends that love him and will always be there for him. And that for me is a very powerful theme. I mean, if you watch the season, you know the fight scenes were just as good, if not better than most movies. That fight scene in prison, which was filmed in one take by the way, was a real work of art. And personally, I've always been a big fan of one continuous shot, especially during fight scenes. And the showrunner actually confirmed that was done in one take, and they never cheated. And I actually believe it because I felt every punches and every drop of blood. And that's the thing they did right this season. They made Daredevil so vulnerable physically that it created tension during every fight scenes. This was the first time ever in the series that I truly feared for Daredevil. Even though I knew he would probably not die, I could not help it because at some point he looked way too vulnerable for you not to care or not to be afraid something bad could happen to him. And that's because the fight choreography in every scene was on point. Finally, I want to talk just a little bit about the story because I think they structured the story really well here. Some will tell you it is because the episodes are well paced, but I think the pacing comes more with the fact that the story is there. Some TV shows have filler episodes, but Daredevil Season 3 has 12 episodes. There isn't an episode that you want to skip, not even the one dedicated to Karen Page. Because if you skip that, you literally miss the point of a character arc this season. And if you miss that, you miss some of Matt Murdock's character arc as well. That's just how well structured this season is. I have to say though, after episode 10 I got a bit nervous because Wilson Fisk's plan got a bit too convenient. He was everywhere and had a plan for everyone, and at some point I got a bit nervous they wouldn't close the season on a high note. But they did. I would like to talk about Kingpin, but I feel like there is not really any surprises here. Vincent D'Onofrio is always brilliant and is easily one of the best parts of the season, and one of the most spot-on castings ever. He is the Kingpin to me. Even though I don't know if Wilson Fisk has always been this romantic in the comics, I think it works here. It gives his character depth, so that he's not just evil for the sake of it. He's actually a man with ambitions, dreams, and a heart. How he sees the world is more due to how messed up he was as a kid. At the end, when I say Daredevil Season 3 is the Dark Knight of superhero TV shows, it has less to do with how they were both made, but mostly with how, just like the Dark Knight did everything right, Daredevil Season 3 did the same. I cannot find anything negative to say about this season, and this should become a template for future Marvel series to learn from, because Daredevil Season 3 is a masterpiece.